Welcome to Sign Up.
This month, we're in the Northeast for a Sunderland Special. Hello.
Hello.
Nice to meet you.
Hi there, nice to meet you. Winning promotion, you know, I think we'll be friends for life after experiencing something like that.
We also catch up with club legend Kevin Phillips.
We probably did more tactical work off the pitch in the pub with pint glasses saying, I go here, Queenie goes there, than we did out on the training ground. So it was a great time.
Yeah, he'll be the pint glass and you'll be the gin and tonic glass, right?
Yeah.
Little and large.
Steady on. I was the shot glass.
We'll also have our usual roundup of the biggest stories in the Premier League.
I think he's going to have to be more successful than any other interim manager because of the nature of Manchester United and the size of the club.
Plus, the story of the victory. A deaf-owned pub near the Stadium of Light, a popular spot for deaf and hearing fans on match day.
Seat.
How's it going, mate? You're a nightmare.
Have you worked with interpreters before?
Yes, with my national team, we had an interpreter come in and
Sign language?
we done a little bit of sign language, yeah. My memory isn't the best of it, but yeah, I've had a little bit of experience.
Hello, thank you so much for coming. Sunderland are now back in the Premier League and there's been a lot of really incredible moments. What do you think is the key to your great form?
I think we've got a great togetherness here at the club. We signed obviously a lot of new players this year and everyone's really gelled together. And we just have great connections with everyone and we work really hard and our home form's been brilliant, so we want to keep that going.
The manager, Reggie Labrie. Can you give us some examples of what it is that he's doing to help this team?
Yeah, I mean, personally, last year I learned so much from him. I had quite a difficult time at periods last year and his man management skills were really good and at times I was injured and his emphasis on staying connected with the team and performing not as individuals but as a collective, I think has really helped, you know, me and definitely the team. We do a lot of work on the training pitch and he's very clear of what he wants with us and it's easy to understand what he wants and put it into practice.
Injuries are a part of most players' careers. We often forget about the person when they're injured. What's the key to you for really getting through those times?
They can be really tough injuries. People don't probably understand the full extent, but when you play at a club where everyone's supportive, you know, teammates, staff, they can really help you in them times. And coming to a place when you're injured and not a part of the team can often feel quite, you know, isolating. But when you've got a good culture at the club, like I think we do here, everyone, no matter if you're in the team, on the bench, injured, everyone feels a part of it, and that's made it a lot, you know, easier here, especially last season.
Granit Xhaka was brought in. What do you think has been the biggest impact on the team since his arrival?
I think his leadership from day one, he improved everyone's standards. When you've got, you know, such a huge star of the game, someone who's achieved so much, and he's doing all the basic hard work every single day, it lifts everyone's standards. And I can say that for myself, but also seeing from the team's performance, especially in training, it really lifted.
Who do you say your best friends are in the Sunderland squad, and what kind of things do you get up to off the pitch?
I'd probably say Trey Hume. Obviously, I play with the national team with him. I've known him for a long time. Dan Neal, Anthony Patterson, Leo Hjelde, Simon Moore. I mean, I could probably name,
everyone really.
Yeah, literally everyone, and not just the boys from last year. I mean, we have great connections for its own purpose. Winning promotion, I think we'll be friends for life after experiencing something like that. But all the new boys that have come in have been so surprised how well they've gelled with everyone, and I don't know if we just got lucky but everyone we've signed have just been amazing people, and it's a pleasure to work with them.
I know it's important to think about one game at a time and not to look too far into the future, but where do you think you'll finish this season? And are you hoping to go on a cup run?
I think the goal at the start of the season was to get to 40 points, and we're not quite there yet, so that's the goal for now. Hopefully we can get there sooner rather than later, and then we can start to set a new goal. But I think the club has an emphasis. We played a really strong team in the FA Cup, and I feel like we're in a good position with the squad, where we can hopefully win a few games and see where it takes us.
Anything can happen. Look at Crystal Palace last season.
I wouldn't look at Crystal Palace now, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That trophy,
That's football.
Yeah, that trophy is special, and I'd like every player wants to go on a cup run, and I feel like we're in a good position. So we'll just see where it takes us, really.
Thank you so much, Dan, for joining us. We really appreciate you coming.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It was wonderful to meet Dan Ballard, and you can tell at Sunderland they've just got a really strong team spirit.
Definitely. We're now joined by Steve McManaman. Lovely to have you back on the show. How are you?
I'm very well. It's a pleasure to be back. It's always nice to see you both.
This episode is a Sunderland Special. They've been doing really well this season. What has impressed you about them this season?
I've been impressed by their work ethic. I think Granit Xhaka has been a wonderful signing. They brought in a lot of players, and normally it's very difficult to integrate everybody into the team so quickly. I think they brought in 13 new signings, but the fact that they are very much happy ensconced in the Premier League. They're not talking about relegation battles. They're not talking about fighting for this and fighting for that. The manager's done an incredible job. So overall, I think the story has been wonderful. I really do. It's a hard place to come and live, particularly in the Northeast. But I think it's a wonderful sign that Newcastle are doing well, that Sunderland are doing well. There's a real resurgence in the Northeast, which is wonderful for the people up north.
You mentioned the Northeast is a tough place to live. Is that for players or just anyone?
I think for anybody, because when any outside player wants to join a team in the Premier League, all they talk about is London, London, London. Not what team they want to join, but they want to go to London. So actually, to say to people, no, it's Liverpool or Everton in the Northwest, or it's Sunderland or it's Newcastle in the Northeast, and all people think and all people hear it, because I've spoken to people, how far is that from London? How far is that from London? So it's a lot harder to get the right type of player to that region. Liverpool, I think, Manchester United, Manchester City is different because their history is long and it's successful. But the likes of Sunderland, who come from the Championship into the Premier League, it was a lot difficult to try and entice those type of players. That's why all the overall package has been absolutely superb.
Focusing our attention to the top of the league, we have to talk about Arsenal. A little bit of a blip, 2 draws and a defeat, but then quite a comprehensive victory over Leeds.
Yep.
Do you reckon that they've got what it takes to maintain the momentum and end with lifting the title?
Yeah, I think the majority of people think the same. What you mentioned is Arsenal's blip. Manchester City, Liverpool, Aston Villa, Manchester United, Chelsea, have all had those blips and more. So if anything, Arsenal have had, let's say, the least amount of blips in this Premier League season. They have, I think personally, they have the strongest squad. They have a couple of injuries at the moment. I know Saka walked off the other day. Marino's been injured, but their squad is extensive, and I think they're certainly the team that is best equipped now to go on and win the Premier League. And of course, they have a big lead really as well, so that should help.
As for Manchester United, Michael Carrick has been brought in as interim manager, and in his first 3 Premier League games, he's got 3 wins. Do you think he's going to be offered the permanent role come the summer?
I hope so. But, and that's a big caveat, a big but, is that he will have to do really well from now till the end of the season. Yes, he's played 3 games and won 3 games, but I think for a player like Michael, who hasn't got the aura of a Carlo Ancelotti or a Thomas Tuchel or a Pochettino, for example, and the fact that he was an ex-Manchester United player, I think it's a lot more difficult for him. So he will have to do exceptionally well between now and the end of the season if he has the opportunity to do it. But I'm thrilled to bits that he's done really well up to now. I know Michael, I know Jonathan Woodgate, Steve Holland's with him, has given him a bit of experience. I would really like them to do well. And a lot of the time we bemoan the fact that there's not enough English coaches, English managers in the Premier League. So now he's got a chance. I'd love him to do well, and I'd love him to stick by him and give him the job. I really would. But I think it's going to be hard. I think he's going to have to be more successful than any other interim manager because of the nature of Manchester United and the size of the club.
We know Liverpool have had a bit of a difficult time. Must be difficult for Slot right now. You were at Anfield for the Newcastle game. Liverpool beat Newcastle. What's the atmosphere like there amongst the fans and amongst the club?
The atmosphere is really good at the moment, but you're completely correct. It's the only thing Liverpool have to deal with is the inconsistencies of their play. They beat Karabag 6-0 on Wednesday. They beat Newcastle 4-1, as you saw on Saturday evening. But last week they lost to Bournemouth, and it has been like that this year. In the Champions League, fine. In the Premier League, it's a bit hit and miss, and they just need to sort that out. They just need to stop the inconsistency of 2 good performances, 1 bad, and make 3, 4, 5 good performances, and then they'll be absolutely fine. They have the players, they have the quality. They just need to get their few injured players back into the system, and then they'll be a lot stronger.
Thank you, Steve. Steve will be back later to talk about the Champions League season so far.
And after the break, we are back in Sunderland, meeting up with one of Macca's former England teammates, Kevin Phillips.
Welcome back to Sunderland. In 2000, Dwight York, Thierry Henry and Alan Shearer were all competing for the Golden Boot. They were beaten to it by
Kevin Phillips. He is one of only 4 Englishmen to score 30 goals in a Premier League season. We met him at the club's training ground.
Welcome, Kevin. It's lovely to have you here. Back in the 1999-2000 season, you won the Golden Boot. I think you scored 30 goals for Sunderland. What's your most memorable memory from that season?
You know, my memory was just a memorable season. We got promoted into the Premier League, and a lot of people from outside of Sunderland didn't think that us as a team would do very well, and me as a player wouldn't score many goals. So it was one of those seasons where I wanted to prove people wrong, and I just went into the Premier League season, and things just happened, and the goals were coming thick and fast, and you know, it was an iconic season. You ask anybody within the football club here, it was a season that the fans all remember, and it's one that certainly, you know, I remember to this day, and it led to me winning the Premier League Golden Boot, and not only that, but also the European Golden Shoe, which to this day, I was the first. I'd say I'm the first Englishman to have won it. Unfortunately, Harry Kane's won it since, but he played for Bayern Munich in Germany,
exactly.
So that doesn't count.
You were playing in the Premier League.
Correct. So, yep. So I think I still.
So you
say
still
I'm the
have that
only
record.
Englishman. But it was a great season.
So, absolutely incredible to go from being promoted into the Premier League with absolutely no fear. You take the stage in that platform of the Premier League, and you've got contemporaries like Alan Shearer, you know, just completely blow him aside to win the Golden Boot in that season.
When I think about some of the players that I was competing against, not just on domestic Sunderland, but England as well, in the England squad, you know, you had Alan Shearer, Michael Owen, Robbie Fowler, Emil Heskey, Andy Cole, Matt Letizia, Teddy Sheringham, Jermaine, you know, there were so many good centre forwards, and I was competing against these week in and week out, and you know, these players played for, and this is no disrespect to Sunderland because I love them that much, that we weren't a top 4 or 5 side, whereas the others were playing in those teams where they expected to score goals. So I think the achievement for me personally was probably better than those, if I'm being honest, because we weren't expected to finish in the top end of the league, but we did. We finished 7th. So, you know, it was a great season in terms of just getting my first goal in the Premier League was huge, and then it just continued and flowed. And I have to say, and I give huge credit to the players I was playing alongside, because I couldn't score all those goals on my own. I needed my teammates alongside me to create me opportunities, and no more so than the famous Niall Quinn.
Exactly. You had a great partnership on the pitch. What was it like off the pitch? Did you go out together? What was your relationship like?
Well, I have to be careful what I say here, because you know, back then, as you can imagine, you know, nowadays players are so professional, social media, camera phones. You know, you have to be so careful what you do. Whereas back then, no media, no social media, no phones with cameras on them. So we were able to go out and relax and enjoy ourselves. And you know, it was more of a culture back then where the manager and the staff encouraged you to meet outside of the football, to get to know each other and have a drink, you know, when it was right. But we probably took it sometimes a little bit too far. But we were getting results, and so the team spirit at the time, as it is now, what I see here at Sunderland, was so strong. And you know, my relationship with Niall off the pitch was great. You know, we were very close, and we probably did more tactical work off the pitch in the pub with pint glasses, saying I go here, Queenie goes there, than we did out on the training ground. So it was a great time.
Yeah, you'll be the gin and tonic glass, and he'll be the pint glass, right?
Yeah.
Little and large.
Steady on. I was the shot glass.
You said it. You said it. Sunderland this season. Wow. You know, what elements of the game at the moment impresses you when it comes to Sunderland?
Everything. Everyone's trying to, and me so. You know, me too, because you know I do a lot of media work, so you have to analyse and you have to give an honest opinion. But there's, you know, you're always trying to think, what are they not been good at? They've been very good at everything. If there was one slight criticism, you would probably say haven't scored as many goals as we would have liked. But defensively, they've been outstanding. I think, you know, after the promotion from last season, I personally did not think that the club would go out and spend the money they did, the way they did. So it really surprised me. And what they did do, And what they didn't do, they went out, they didn't just go out and buy any types of players. We've seen that from promoted teams before, but they identified the types of players that they needed for the system that Reggie Lebris wanted to play. And for me, that's really clever recruitment. So you have to say that the recruitment at this football club for a while now has been outstanding. So, you know, they've pretty much built a whole new team, haven't they? Which is rare, and it's tough on the players that got them to the Premier League because they've just had to step aside and watch these players perform. But that's football, you know, it's competition. So, you know, huge credit goes to Reggie Lebris for not only rebuilding his squad, but getting them in such a short space of time and getting the best out of them quickly from day one. Just speaks volumes of the manager and the players that he brought in. So it's been an incredible season so far.
So where are we going to be in May then, by the end of the Premier League season? Where are Sunderland going to be in the table? I
think a European spot has to be realistic. You know, they can't afford to lose too many games, but if they keep doing what they're doing, then I think you have to aim high because of what they've shown so far. And also, they've played everyone now, and has anyone really battered them? Maybe Brentford, but Sunderland missed the penalty. If that goes in, it's different. So I haven't seen them actually get played off the park for 90 minutes. So for me, that's really encouraging. So realistically, a European spot.
Okay, thank you so much, Kevin. It's been a real pleasure talking to you, and we really appreciate you coming to talk to us.
No problem at all. Thanks for having me. Really enjoyed it. Nice, lovely to meet you.
I've got one more question, Kevin. One more question. Do you have any regrets?
Oh, no. No. Well, actually, no, I don't. I wouldn't. If I had to roll back the clocks now, I probably wouldn't change a thing. I was very close to signing for Tottenham when Glenn Hoddle was the manager.
Imagine.
Glenn wanted to sign me, but I had to have a double hernia operation at the end of the season, so he said I can't take that risk. Was also close to signing for Arsenal as well, very close. And so.
Well, it's a good thing you didn't.
So it was out of me and Francis Jeffers. Do you remember Francis Jeffers? So Arsene Wenger decided to sign Francis Jeffers instead of me. So whenever I see Arsene Wenger now, he always apologises to me to say, sorry, I should have signed you. I'm like, well, that doesn't help now, does it? But it would have been...
It's like sliding doors.
Correct, yeah.
You know, there's that what if.
But it would have been my dream to play alongside the legend Thierry Henry. So, but is it a regret?
Imagine.
Maybe a little bit.
Yeah. Can you imagine? Thierry Henry, Kevin Phillips up front.
Wow. Had some great players.
Thank you again.
No
Thank
problem.
you so much.
Have a safe journey back, everyone.
It was lovely meeting Kevin Phillips, especially hearing about that era of football. I remember watching those players growing up. If you want to see a longer version of the interview, you can catch that on YouTube.
After the break, we'll be back in Sunderland checking out a deaf-owned pub, and we'll be talking with Steve McManaman about the Champions League. Welcome back to Sunderland. Just round the corner from the stadium is the Victory Pub, a very popular spot on match days.
It's deaf-owned and run entirely by deaf volunteers. Here are some of the regulars.
The atmosphere, it's really good. Plus the main thing is you get supporters from other clubs coming in, and it's a really friendly atmosphere. You have no problems whatsoever. You cannot fault it.
It's good for all people, whoever you are. If you want to come in for a drink, they welcome you with open arms. Absolutely. Incredible. I'm from the Wirral, but I have autism, but they just split in with the communication. There's no corner that we can't reach if we unify together. That's why I like this pub. I feel honoured to be up in the northeast with the wonderful people I've met the last 2 and a bit years. In this pub, beyond this pub, in the Stadium of Light, beyond the Stadium of Light. This pub, long may it continue.
What a great place. I would love to go up there and volunteer behind the bar, have a drink myself maybe. But yeah, if you want me to come up, let me know.
I'm definitely coming with you. We're joined once again by Macca to talk about the Champions League. It's been the second year of this group stage format. What's your verdict on it?
I really like it, actually. How about yourselves? Do you like it, or?
I fully agree.
Yeah.
Yes, there's more variety now. A lot of shock results. Previously, the group stage was quite predictable,
Yeah.
whereas now anything can happen.
Yeah, I think the same. I think once it got down to, in the old the old format, games 5 and 6 were, or games 4 and 5 were always a little bit boring, a little bit predictable. A lot of the teams had already qualified. Some teams did not need to win. Where I think when it gets down to the last match day, as we saw the other day, if you looked at the table, I was in Paris for Paris Saint-Germain against Newcastle, and at one stage, Paris Saint-Germain and Newcastle both were finishing in the top 8 in the group at half time, and then at the end of the game, they were 11th and 12th or 11th and 13th, and I think as we rightly saw, Sporting Lisbon jumped into the top 8 right at the last minute when Benfica were beating Real Madrid. And then, of course, we had the story of Jose Mourinho's goal. Antonelli threw in, scoring that late winner to knock Marseille out, of the knockout stage and propel them into last place, I think, which was 24th. So the fact that there's so much excitement right up until the last match day, which is match day 8, for me personally, I think it's working. I think it's worked.
As for Bodo Glimt, what an incredible story. The first Norwegian team through to the knockout phase of the Champions League since Rosenborg in 1996-97. What do you make of them?
Again, I think they've been fantastic. I love the fact that we get a story like this. I think that's what the Champions League's about. And the fact that we have a lot of teams that qualify into the next round. It's for the likes of Bodo Glimt. It's for the likes of Karabag, even though, of course, I'd like Newcastle to beat them. But it's these stories. It's not for Liverpool and Bayern Munich and Barcelona and Real Madrid. It's for Bodo Glimt, and it's for Karabag, and it's for Paphos, etc., etc. The smaller teams who have a chance to qualify. But anybody who's seen Bodo Glimt play, everybody who's knows where they're from, and they played Manchester City recently, and of course Manchester City had to go to the Arctic Circle. They play on a plastic pitch because of the conditions and the cold.
2-2 against Spurs.
Yes, 2-2 against Spurs, and Spurs beat them last year on their way to lifting the Europa League. It's a very difficult game. They have very talented players, and it's not just about the conditions, because as most people saw, they played against Atletico Madrid in Madrid, the Metropolitano the other day, and won the game and performed fantastically well. So it's, as much as it's exciting to have English teams in, I think it's really important, the fact that we have these sort of, without being disrespectful, these lesser teams in the knockout phase as well. It's wonderful.
So, what do you need to be successful in the Champions League? Last year, PSG, poor in the group stages and actually went on to lift the trophy. So, what's the key to success?
Success means you have to have, of course, a really good team and a really good squad. I think you need a lot of luck. I really mean that, because a lot of the time the best teams don't win. A lot of the time the best team don't win the Champions League. I think the best team won the Champions League last year, but as you rightly said, PSG only really started to play well in February, March. They struggled up until then. And then they were exceptional. And I think that's what happens in the Champions League. The best teams normally start to peak in the knockout phase. That's when the real good teams start to come to the fore. But you need a bit of luck, because you only play every 2 or 3 weeks. You need the best players fit. You need to be right on the day. You need to be very professional when it comes to playing the game. You don't want to give any penalties away. You don't want to have any sendings off. So it's a combination of a lot of things that will get you to the final. Then come to the final, you need to be able to handle the pressure. You need to be mentally strong. And then you need to perform while 1 billion people are watching you around the world.
Thank you very much for that, Steve. And it's been really great having you back again on Sign Up.
Lovely being here.
Thank you.
That is all now for today, but don't forget you can watch all of our episodes on YouTube and stream them on Discovery+.
Next month, we'll be heading up to Leeds. Make sure you tune in on the 6th of March. Goodbye.
Bye.